Hello and welcome, fans, to Daily Field at Frank R. Campbell Stadium, where we have a presentation of USA South football, where we're going to have your Averett University Cougars going up against the Panthers of LaGrange. LaGrange comes in 2-2 on the year, winless in conference play. The Cougars 3-1 on the year, 1-0, looking to move to 2-0 on the year in conference play. And LaGrange is coming in with they're getting their starting quarterback back, Cam Perkins. He started last year, started about 6 games last year. Came in and a freshman came and played better than him in the first 2 or 3 games, and now he's finally getting it back.
Yeah, Perkins a dual threat too, Eddie. So he can get it done on the ground. He can also get it done through the air. He's 8 of 17 this year for 123 yards. Perkins also with 9 carries for 42. We don't really know why he's been thrusted into this position today, but he is the guy they're going with. So a different look for LaGrange today.
And he's going to have to be a dual threat quarterback today. All freshmen on that in front of him on that offensive line, and in front of a defensive line that ranks number 2 in the nation as far as D3 goes, number 2 in the nation in sacks, is going to be a heck of a task.
I'll tell you what, all freshmen on the offensive line, they got their work cut out for them today.
Absolutely.
Because this defensive line on the other side for Averett got a lot of big names, and we'll see Ledbetter in there at some point today. We'll see the likes of Showalter and a lot of these guys getting it done early on this season.
Absolutely, and you know, Lofton, we saw Lofton play really good. Javon Lofton played really good against Randolph Macon. Malik Pulliam's been playing really good. Romello Herbin, a senior, somebody that's just a rock for your defense. This defensive line is going to give that O-line all kinds of trouble. And, you know, they might be able to do good. You know, it's all about discipline, execution in practice, execution in the weight room. And they're going to need to communicate. They're going to need to communicate today because the Cougars have 2 groups of 4 D linemen. They sub in and out, and it's really going to give that O-line a run for their money.
You know, you mentioned Lofton, and really when we think about that whole defensive line, it's one thing to be big, right? And most defensive lines are. You almost have to be up front. Right. But they're so quick as well. And in particular, when we talk about Lofton, when he's 285, 280, and he can move the way he can and maneuver his way into the backfield, you can get a lot of things done in the backfield for your defense.
And you're right. Coming from that nose tackle position, you don't see a lot of 285-pound nose tackles that can move like your defensive end, and they can move like your outside linebacker. He's really got that hand speed, that quickness, and he can get past an O-lineman. So Cam Perkins is going to have his work cut out for him, but he's going to be looking to throw the ball today to number 1, Tyler Benjamin, his big junior wide receiver who stands 6'2", 160 outside. And again, other than Benjamin, his receiving targets are all freshmen.
Yeah, Benjamin, the top wideout. Now, when you look at the stat sheet, when you look and you just go by the numbers, you would say, well, Benjamin's not that big of a concern. But he was out for 2 games. He's got great speed, really good hands, a good route runner as well. So something to watch for here today.
Absolutely, and we were talking about it earlier before we came on air that, it's our belief that Terrell England will be following Mr. Benjamin around the field as far as he can go. England comes in at 6 foot 170, and he's a tall 6 foot. He's really lanky. He's probably looks more like 6'3" than he is, but he's a really lanky 6-footer, and he's one of our best corners on this football team.
That'll be a great matchup to watch, Eddie. And last time we were sitting in this exact place, we saw him take one 100 yards back to the house. So that'll be something if we could see that again.
Absolutely, and just want to highlight a few players to watch here. Number 38, senior defensive end Devin Merritt had a strong performance against Greensboro, to say the least. He had 4 tackles, including 1.5 sacks, also grabbing an interception. Merritt has 14 tackles on the year so far, and he's got 3.5 tackles for a loss, 2.5 sacks, and a forced fumble and a pick. Devin Merritt coming in. When he gets in, he's going to make a statement.
Exactly. So many guys you can look to on this defensive side. But on the offensive side, Chase Nixon's had a really, really good year. The wide receiver, sophomore, right outside North Carolina, Gastonia area. Caught 6 passes for a career-high 93 yards and a touchdown last week at Greensboro. And Nixon is definitely someone to watch, especially with Isaiah Grice out today. He could get some more targets.
Absolutely, and we were talking about that before we came on, that we're going to see Jacob go deeper into his wide receiver depth chart. Guys like Brent Hammer possibly going to get some targets today with Isaiah Grice being out. And Isaiah Grice, was such a good receiver, a hard blow to lose. He's got 2 touchdown receptions on the year. And he's right behind Chase Nixon. Like you mentioned, Chase has 3 touchdowns on the year. Isaiah is a big blow to miss. Big, tall guy outside. Good route runner. Good speed. But the Cougars and Jacob Wright will adapt. Jacob's a really good quarterback.
I'll tell you what. I'm so excited to see Jacob Wright play again. He's another guy, dual threat. We've got 2 dual threat quarterbacks here today. Jacob Wright, 6', 200-pounder. He's not afraid to run by you, not afraid to run through you. And, of course, you can get it done through the air.
Right.
It's going to be exciting to watch both these QBs today.
And Wright's going to have his hand full with number 30, Randy Fillingame. He was selected as the USA South Defensive Rookie of the Week last week. He had 12 tackles going up against NC Wesleyan. He had 2 interceptions as well, and he leads the team with 28 tackles and 7 of them behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, we talked to the radio guy, Bill, across the hall here a little bit ago. He said Fillingame's just an absolute stud. Stud freshman linebacker, got an account for him. So he'll be fun to watch as well, and it'll be interesting to see. Will Averett kind of run away from him, as you will sometimes when you have a great player on one side or the other.
And it's another interesting note. The whole linebacking core for LaGrange, all freshmen. So we kind of talked about this beforehand. Will the Cougars run a lot of RPO? And if you don't know, that's a play where you have it's called run-pass option, where you have the option to run the ball with the running back, the quarterback, or the quarterback can pop up and hit a quick slant. Is usually the route that the receiver's running, hit a quick slant across the middle, and it really forces the linebackers to make decisions. So will Jacob Wright and this Averett offense force this linebacking core, this freshman linebacking core, to make those decisions?
And I think if you're Averett, I think today could be a game where it's all about controlling the line of scrimmage, and I think it could be a big running game. When you look at Tapscott, he hasn't really had a breakout game just yet, but we know how good he is running the football, and you got a a quarterback who acts like a running back in Jacob Wright. I think it could be a big day on the ground for this Averett offense.
Absolutely. I expect Tapscott to get anywhere from 20 to 25 touches today, as far as catching the ball and just, straight traditional handoffs. I feel like they're going to lean on Tapscott a little bit more, especially with that being a freshman linebacking core. That's big to the run game because I haven't seen that linebacking core play, but if you're not filling the right holes, if you're not pulling the trigger fast enough, a senior in Tapscott, seniors on our offensive line, they're not going to make those same mistakes.
Exactly, and I think that's where they're going to start. Now, if they start stopping the run, of course we know Jacob Wright can go back there and throw it around. So I think you start with the running game, see what you can get going, and then, open it up as you have to as the day goes along.
Absolutely. We were watching former All-American Cole Westbury practicing earlier. He kind of struggled a little bit when he was just getting warmed up, but once he got warm, he hit one from 51 earlier, and he made it look easy.
Yeah, he hit a few that were kind of iffy, but then, like you said, give it 10, 15 minutes, that leg's a little loosened up, and you could tell, he's hitting 50-yarders with some room. He still has another 5 to 10 yards on it.
And I tell you what, there's nothing to worry about if you're a Cougars fan, because if Westbury doesn't do as good as we know he can, Noah Wren was looking very, very good in warm-ups as well, hitting from about the same distance as Cole Westbury, and like you said, with another 5 or 10 yards on the end of it.
I think that's great that Noah's pushing, the starting kicker, and whenever you have competition at any position, in all positions, it's just going to make your whole football team a better overall team.
Absolutely. Jacob Wright was the USA South Conference Offensive Player of the Week on Monday. He accounted for 5 touchdowns, 4 through the air, and 1 rushing. He also completed 75% of his passes in a 48-0 win over USA South foe Greensboro College last week.
What a day. 5 total touchdowns. Wow. And then on the other side, Connor Showalter, 7 tackles, 2 picks last week. Both interceptions, came inside Cougar territory. So, who knows? That could have been some points for Greensboro if he doesn't collect those 2 interceptions. So, 2 big performances there by Showalter and Wright last week.
And speaking of interceptions, how about we talk about LaGrange and that defense? Number 16, senior safety Peyton Haynes has 5 interceptions on the year. and he was hurt. He's been hurt for 2 games.
How about that? He leads the conference, I mean, as you would expect, right? 5 interceptions. But he had 3 picks and a fumble recovery in the first half against Apprentice. 3 picks and a fumble recovery in a half of football, which is pretty remarkable. So it'll be exciting to watch him here today as well.
That's unheard of type football. 3 interceptions and a forced fumble in 30 minutes of game time.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
seriously.
insane.
Yeah.
That is absolutely insane.
That doesn't happen.
And we were, talking about that. I guess we went from talking about Wright to the good safety play out in LaGrange, and I guess it'd be a good time to mention how efficient Jacob Wright is. He only has 1 interception on the year. He's number 7 in efficiency in the nation as far as Division III schools go. Number 8 in completion percentage as far as D3 schools go. I mean, Jacob Wright, a really efficient passer. He's not going to make mental errors. He's not going to force the ball somewhere he doesn't have to.
Yeah, he's closing in on 1,000 yards already, 60 for 81 on the year, 10 touchdowns to 1 interception. I mean, you can't get much better than that, really.
Right. You can't ask for much more from your starting quarterback. We were talking about Joshua Tapscott. He's only got 197 rushing yards on the year to 3 touchdowns, and that doesn't speak to how good of a runner he actually is.
He's so due. I mean, because you could just see it when he's running the football. He averages still over 4.5 yards a carry. Really wasn't able to shake loose though against Randolph-Macon. They did a really good job. They crowded the line of scrimmage and forced Jacob Wright and company to throw the ball. But I think this is the day today where Tapscott could have a big game, and like you said, maybe get upwards to 20 to 25 carries here today.
And we know he makes an impact not only on the offensive end but special teams. He's number 1 in the nation in kick returns for a touchdown. Joshua Tapscott, if he sees the ball, he's going to get in the end zone.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks. It was week 1 and week 2, right?
Absolutely.
Back-to-back weeks where he took one to the house. So always a threat back there, and that just goes to show you how good he really is with the football in his hands.
And Joseph Ledbetter, we spoke about him a little earlier, and there's not enough that can be said about how good of a football player he is. Number 6 in the nation for total sacks in Division III. He's got 6 sacks on the year already. The school record is, I believe you mentioned it earlier, 15 and a half.
Right. Yeah, he's going to get that. He might get it in the next couple games. He might get it today.
He might get it today.
I mean, he's that good.
He might get it today.
And, that record was set just last season by Dejon Brooks. So, Ledbetter, if he doesn't get it, today, it's going to come soon enough this season, I think.
Absolutely. Joseph Ledbetter, such a good defensive end to have. And, I mean, he's only a sophomore.
I know.
He's got 2 more years of growth and development. He's a monster. He is a monstrous defensive end.
Yeah, kind of an interesting backstory, too, with Ledbetter. They come from Sanford, North Carolina, and there's another guy that has followed him here, Jonathan Terrell. Now, he's a guy that comes in, to spell some of the starters, but he has 4 sacks. So they're doing something there in Sanford, North Carolina to create some defensive ends down there. And another special player, I think, an up-and-comer in the program to watch for.
Absolutely, and something in the water down there in Sanford, huh?
Right.
I'll tell you another player that's from Sanford that doesn't play on the football team is Colton Dutchess, our men's soccer goalkeeper, who does an excellent job in front of goal for our team. He's pitched a bunch of shutouts. I believe he had, at one point in time, there's 3 shutouts in a row.
Right.
So there's something in the water out there in Sanford.
Well, you would know this better than I would. I mean, you're from this part of the country. Lee County High School. I mean, that must be a place where a lot of studs come from, I assume?
It's a pretty good school.
Okay.
They're pretty good out there, right, to say the least. They're pretty good. So Averett was picked as first in the USA South Coaches Preseason Football Poll. It's the first time in its 20-year history Averett was ever voted to be the favorite to win the conference for football.
Yeah, we talked about it, when we broadcasted together the last game. And, you're building off an 8-2 campaign a season ago, 6-1 in conference play a season ago, and you come in with all these expectations. It's a little bit different. But so far, I mean, aside from that little slip-up against Randolph-Macon where they really had that football game and then, kind of blew it in the fourth quarter. However, they bounced back, right? 1-2 in a row. They're sitting at 3-1. They could still run the table, so they're in a perfect position going forward.
And we're going to take a break for the national anthem, but we will be back here live on the Averett Sports Network in about 2 or 3 minutes. And we are back live here at Daly Field at Frank R. Campbell Stadium. You're watching the Averett Sports Network and your Averett University Cougar football. As here comes your Cougars onto the field. Again, your Averett University Cougars are going up against the LaGrange Panthers. Your Cougars yellow on, or gold on gold, excuse me. LaGrange comes out white on white. As the Cougars come out, swaying back and forth, trying to get the energy up. This is a 1 o'clock game. And it is Kids Day here at Frank R. Campbell Stadium. Zach, the weather's great. The atmosphere is great, and it's football. You can't ask for a better day.
Oh, perfect day. What is it, about 75, 80?
Absolutely.
Can't complain about that. I think we said the same thing last time we were together. So another perfect day, and like you said, an early start. So hopefully no hangover, and get going early here and put some points up on the board. I want to mention something we were talking about in break. Do you kick to Tapscott here? I mean, teams are well aware of what he can do with the football and kick return situations. Do you kick it to him here?
I don't kick it to him. If my kicker could put it in the back of the end zone, we'll do that every time. Or if not, then we'll, most teams when there's a dangerous returner, they'll go high left or high right and try and get it to an up man. But I don't kick it anywhere near Joshua Tapscott. That's the last person I'm kicking it to. We'll do an onside kick every time we come out before we kick it to Josh Tapscott.
Right.
I didn't see the official call, but it looks like make sure, see which special team is coming out. Yeah, it looks like Averett's going to kick first. So LaGrange will start with the football, of course, if barring, a turnover on the kickoff. But LaGrange will start on offense.
So we'll get our first look at Cam Perkins, a junior, 6 foot, 185 from Loganville, Georgia. The quarterback starting today. First time starting this season, but did make 6 previous starts a season ago.
And again, we've got to mention that, head coach Earl Chambers is in his second season, which makes it really easy to give Perkins the start. Someone who's been there as long as he has, and it really makes it easy because Perkins knows the system. He knows what Coach Chambers wants, and he's going to give him, he's going to deliver on it. Yeah,
familiarity is very, very important, especially when you've just come off a loss, right? You want to go back to the drawing board. You go back to someone who has been around the program, has had success here before. So there you go, Cam Perkins. Get our first look at him today after the kickoff.
And let's see how the Cougars start. This LaGrange team is a young team. Let's hope the Cougars can keep their head on straight. Westbury with a booming kick to open us up. And it will be a touchback.
What else is new?
Right.
Cole Westbury through the end zone, right?
Right. And as you mentioned, onto the field trots that LaGrange offense, but this stingy Cougar defense is on the field as well. They don't like giving up yards, and they will eat your quarterback alive.
Oh, yeah. Big defensive line, 22 sacks on the season, which is number 1 in the nation, by the way.
Double tight set for LaGrange to start the game. Shotgun is Perkins. And they go with a run play up the middle, and that's going to be good for a first down, it looks like.
Yeah, that's Brendan Scott. He averages almost 100 yards a game. Kind of a quiet running back in this conference, but a very solid one. Good carry there on first down.
And I'll tell you what, Zach, from, just the first play, that O-line looked great right there. They really got to push on this Averett defense and open that hole up. Interesting note, the corners are not traveling for the Cougars, so the corners will stick to their side no matter which receiver comes to them. Better job by the defense there. No gain for Brendan Scott.
That was a nice job by Hunter Hinson. The safety came up and made a nice play on the football.
Your defense is working when you know your safeties are coming up and making plays at the line of scrimmage in the run game. That's when you know your defense is really working. LaGrange kind of changes it up a little bit here. They have an up man, 3 wide receivers, 2 to the right of Perkins. He'll drop back for his first pass. It's going to be a curl route complete to number 80, Jeremiah Ingram.
And that was a good tackle by Kasim Black, because now it sets up a 3rd down and 3, 3rd down and 4. If the wide receiver shakes that tackle, gets loose, he might be still running down the sideline.
You're right. Great open field tackle by Kasim Black.
See if the Cougars can come up with one of those big plays in the backfield like we've seen so many times early on this season.
So trips right for LaGrange. Cougars moving that defense around. Motion man for LaGrange. High snap comes in. Perkins keeps it and swatted away there by guess who? Connor Showalter.
There was some confusion there between Perkins and the running back, Scott, and I think that allowed the Averett defense to get back there a little bit quicker and a nice bat down and get the football back here. So a good hold there as LaGrange moved the ball for a short period, and looks like Averett will get it back and have their chance at it for the first time this afternoon.
So Perkins start 1 for 2 for about 6 yards. Not a bad start, but you definitely would have liked more if you're Coach Chambers, but you're not panicking yet. You're not in panic mode. This punt comes in, and it could land in a very good spot if you're a LaGrange fan. And it will land on, we'll see if they spot it at the 5 or the 6. They spot it at the 6-yard line, so Jacob Wright gets unfavorable field position to start off his first drive.
Yeah, they're going to have to go the length of the football field, but I'm anxious to see this offense and what they come out and try to do. Is it Tapscott for a little bit and Wright? I think, like you said, a lot of run-pass options could be in the cards today.
Two receivers to the right of Jacob Wright. Tapscott and Wright come in the pistol formation. Filling game not in the game yet. Interesting. Tapscott saw a hole and stayed disciplined and hit it. Picked up about 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah, not much room there, but Tapscott made the most of it. Sets up about a 2nd and 7. But yeah, filling game not in the opening series here, which is kind of bizarre, coming off a 12-tackle performance a week ago.
Same formation for the Cougars. Two receivers to the right, a tight end attached to the end of the O-line as well. For Jacob Wright, one receiver left. He motions Tapscott beside him. Another handoff. Tapscott gets the outside, but he doesn't give much more than that.
That was great team defense. There wasn't really an individual that made a play there. That was just a great pursuit by the entire defense, and not much doing there on the right side for Tapscott.
So we should see it with 3rd and 7. We should see the first pass here from Jacob Wright, unless the Cougars just eat this drive in. But it doesn't look like it. 4 receivers out for the Cougars. Tapscott split out in the slot as well, so that means Wright is in the backfield by himself. Empty set for the Cougars. This D-line comes after him, and that's a catch by Joshua Tapscott.
I'll tell you what, I don't know what was better, the catch or the step up in the pocket throw by Jacob Wright.
The pocket presence by Jacob Wright is unbelievable. He saw those D-linemen, and most quarterbacks that have the shiftiness of Jacob Wright would have just dipped in, and they would have been gone.
Right.
But Wright keeps his eyes downfield. He sees Josh Tapscott, and he dumps it off for an 8-yard pickup.
That's a big, big play and a big first down to keep this drive alive. Otherwise, you're sitting back punting from your own end zone, giving great field position, then back to LaGrange. So, big 3rd down conversion.
Cougars kind of confused on personnel right here. Cougars really confused on personnel right here. Jaleel Webster into the game. Joshua Tapscott also in. Snug formation here for the Cougars. Quick throw, quick play action throw. And Jaleel Webster will pick up the first down. And when you see Jaleel Webster, expect to see that a lot, them trying to get the ball into his hands in a hurry. This kid is shifty and fast. Jaleel Webster can get up and go in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, the cornerback, Josh Rivers, did a nice job to track him down, but not before a big first down play. Definitely a different change of pace, back and can catch it out of the backfield as well.
Absolutely. And like you said, change of pace. Josh Tapscott, he's fast, but he's not as quick as Jaleel Webster,
Takes Tapscott a little bit longer to get that second burst when he gets to the secondary.
Same formation here for the Cougars. Webster will motion behind. Ball goes to Tapscott. Tapscott still pushing forward. He'll pick up about 4.
Yeah, that's just a strong run right up the middle, getting 4 yards. We talked about this before. If you could do that all the time, you just wear down a defense slowly. When you get to that second half, third and fourth quarter, all of a sudden those 4-yard gains turn into 8- and 9-yard gains.
Still no sign of Randy Fillingame. 2nd and 7 for the Cougars.
Yeah, Fillingame, 12 tackles a week ago against NC Wesleyan. Also had 2 picks last week. Big-time freshman. Have to see if we can find out what's going on there.
Pistol set for Wright. He motions Webster out. Nobody follows. They're not in man coverage. Wright found Deontay Lambright across the middle. And Lambright got tattooed trying to make that catch.
I'll tell you what, that was a big-time hit by the safety. I think it was Peyton Haynes, and we talked about him at the top. Big-time hit.
Lambright able to get up and run off the field, though, so that's definitely a good note. Cougars got to get a play call in 15 seconds on the clock.
Something that goes unnoticed there, that was a really good throw by Wright. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it was in traffic, but it was on the money. Just a big hit there by Peyton Haynes.
Less than 10 seconds on the play clock here. Empty set for the Cougars. 3rd and 7 coming up. 2 seconds. Got to snap the ball. Designed run for Jacob Wright, and he is eaten up in the backfield.
Yeah, that play just did not look pretty from the start.
And guess who was in on that tackle? Randy Fillingame. He snuck in on the field and made an impact.
Yeah, him and Alex Stevenson, another freshman.
So that brings on Cole Westbury and this Cougar punting team. So let's see what Westbury can do with the ball. He's had a 69-yard punt before.
Well, we've seen a drive now from both teams, pretty identical. 1 first down, and then things went awry. So We'll see what happens here for LaGrange on their second opportunity.
Westbury with a beautiful punt here. And it just bounced into the end zone, took the wrong bounce. But, I mean, it landed inside the 5. What a heck of a punt by Cole Westbury.
A booming leg. I mean, he's probably – he is the best one in the conference. Is he the best one in the nation? Maybe it's arguable, but –
Yeah, maybe. You're right, arguable.
Best one in the conference for sure, averaging right around 47 yards per punt. Such a luxury to have a punter that can flip the script, flip the field for you like that.
He actually ranks number 3 in the nation as far as average punts go. Definitely one of the best in the nation, as you mentioned. Cam Perkins on the field. Design run all the way, and Joseph Ledbetter in on that tackle.
Ledbetter came from the backside to make a nice play, too. He's always in the backfield, whether he's making a sack or making a tackle for loss.
And his pursuit is so good. He comes from the opposite side of the field and catches running backs from behind. Brendan Scott in the backfield with Perkins. Another run all the way. And this is Connor Showalter absolutely eating Scott up, not letting Scott go anywhere. Showalter with the good pursuit.
Yeah, for a moment there, Scott looked to have the corner, but Showalter closing in. Made a nice open field play, and that sets up 3rd and long here.
And so the Cougars will bring in their 3rd safety, their traditional 4-2-5 formation. So let's see what Cam Perkins can do here in a 3rd and 13 situation. Every receiver has a hat on him. And a sack by guess who? Joseph Ledbetter, number 7.
Great coverage downfield, too. And he was eyeing only one guy, one wide receiver the entire time. But that really didn't even matter because Ledbetter was in the backfield in the blink of an eye to get the sack.
And he was looking for his junior, number 1, Tyler Benjamin. He was looking for him all the way, like you said. And And I think he was waiting for Benjamin to make his last little break, and he was going to put the ball in the air, but Ledbetter just came and laid the wood on him.
So this is game 15 for Ledbetter now with 12 sacks, closing in on that program record of 15 and a half. He might get it today.
Yeah, he's going to absolutely shatter that record. Webster back to return. He does field the punt.
Uh-oh. Almost shook loose.
Like you said, Webster had some daylight there, and that's still a good return for the Cougars, about a 12-yard pickup there.
Good field position, too, here.
Better than last time, I'll tell you that much.
Let's see what they can do. Let's see if they can put together a drive here. They got the one first down that first time out, and then they ran into some issues and had to punt.
Pistol set for the Cougars. Even receivers both sides, 2 and 2 to the right and left of Jacob Wright. Tapscott motions down. Read option, Wright keeps it right in open field, and Wright picks up a first down and more.
There's that RPO, that run pass option.
Absolutely.
And Jacob Wright right up the middle. Big play there on first down, across midfield.
And the thing is, you can't completely collapse on Jacob Wright on those RPOs, because you have to respect Tapscott and the things he can do as a runner. And then you can't completely collapse on Tapscott because you have to respect Wright as a runner. And you can't play the run completely because you have to respect Wright as a passer.
Exactly.
So it's so much you have to account for as a defensive coordinator and these linebackers. That's why I say they're going to put these freshmen to work.
Pick your poison, right?
Design run for Tapscott. Tapscott getting loose. Tapscott's going to score.
He's walking into the end zone. Big hole that time on the left side, and Tapscott, like we talked about, gets to that second level, easily gets in the end zone.
Joshua Tapscott, like you said, find a crease and get in.
I'll tell you one thing, you're not going to tackle Tapscott at the ankles, and that's what the defender tried to do there.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
And interesting set here for the Cougars. They're going for 2 here, and it did not work. Interesting call by the Cougars. Very interesting call by the Cougars because they didn't necessarily have to do that.
Yeah, tried to catch him off guard. We talked about Westbury. He's 18 of 20 on PAT, so pretty good kicker you have back there, but maybe they're trying to catch LaGrange sleeping.
Nevertheless, it is 6-0. Your Cougars lead it in this first quarter. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back here live on the Averett Sports Network. And we are back after the big-time run by Joshua Tapscott that puts the Cougars out in front, 6-0. The Cougars had a failed 2-point conversion attempt, but nevertheless, they do still hold the lead.
Yeah, a 2-play drive, too. Big run by Jacob Wright up the middle. And then Tapscott got loose on the left side for a big run.
And this ball will be returned by LaGrange out past the 20 to about the 23-yard line. And ball was returned by Brendan Williams, freshman out of Hampton, Georgia, 5'7", 160, trying to make something happen there. So let's see what Cam Perkins can do now. 2 drives that were stalled. 1 drive that was dominated by Joseph Ledbetter, and the other drive, this first drive didn't look bad. You know, they went 4 and out, but they did not look bad in that drive. So let's see what they can keep their heads on straight and get moving down the field here. Design run play to Scott, and he's still moving forward.
Big push that time by the offensive line, and probably about 4 or 5 yards there just from the push. But Scott, he's a pretty big back too. Pretty strong guy.
Yeah. And that's what those senior people don't give enough credit to how good it is to have seniors on your football team because they do little things like keep their feet moving.
Right.
They just keep their feet moving and keep moving and pick up that extra 3 yards because he very well could have just got 2 yards there, but his determination got him those extra 3. Design quarterback run here for Perkins.
A nice job by the Averett defense just to keep pushing him closer to the sideline. Only picked up about a yard or 2.
So it's going to bring up 3rd down and 5 yards to go for the Panthers.
Actually may have lost a yard.
It's a big 3rd down pickup here for LaGrange. If they can pick this up, this will be big for their momentum.
Tyler Benjamin, wide receiver on the far side, is their go-to wide receiver.
Design run all the way. Ball came out, and I think Ledbetter.
Ball still on the ground.
I think the Cougars got a hold of it, and they do. The Cougars force a big turnover on 3rd down and 6.
Yeah, Scott just never had a firm handle on it, and Hunter Hinson comes up with a big recovery. Well, check that. Might have been Tristan Quick. It was 24 who came up with it.
Cougar defense playing strong early, making very good plays early on in this football game. And if they're going to play like this for all 4 quarters, it's going to be a long game for Cam Perkins.
Exactly. And here's the thing. You get LaGrange in these passing situations, you could tell they're not very comfortable.
Yes.
They don't want to be in that 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6.
Yeah.
And right there, they went to a running play on 3rd and 5. And Brandon Scott couldn't hang on to the football.
Ball to Tapscott. He found some space and picks up about 4. I mean, you can't all the way blame them. Brendan Scott, 368 yards on the year. He averages about more than 5.5 yards a carry. And he's got 8 touchdowns, so he is their go-to guy.
Oh, he's a formidable back.
Right, but you're absolutely right. You know, without Lindsey, their normal quarterback, they're not looking as confident passing the ball, and they're going to have to get confident. They're going to have to get used to it because they're going to have to throw the football.
Yeah, we mentioned Lindsey not even dressed today, so he's not even somebody they could turn to here this afternoon.
Tapscott motions forward. Run with Tapscott. He stays patient, trying to flip field, still trying to find some space. Tapscott making something happen.
I'll tell you what, Big Joe Thomas, number 93, he goes 5'11", 335 pounds.
Man.
The nose guard. And you talk about taking up some space on that play. He sure did that. We're talking to some of the players this week, and they said the nose tackle is the key to that defense.
Yeah.
335-pounder, 5'11", Joe Thomas.
And he made a difference on that play. He pushed the O-lineman back into Josh Tapscott, and Tapscott kind of had to change the way he was running. Chris Francis into the game, 3 receivers to the right of Jacob Wright. And so LaGrange calls a timeout. We'll take one here with them. Your Cougars lead it 6-0. And we are back here. 3rd and 3. Jacob Wright in the backfield by himself. Snug formation, but he's got trips right. This LaGrange defense scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. The defensive coordinator's yelling onto the field, trying to change the play.
This could be a run here for Jacob Wright.
It's not a designed run, but he gets absolutely clobbered in the backfield, but a great catch. Way to stand in there and deliver the pass.
I'll tell you what, that was a tough throw. I mean, pressure was coming, 2 or 3 different guys. He hung in there, made a strong throw.
And it was Joe Thomas that came in full speed. He's a lot braver than I am because I would have bailed out, especially if I have the athleticism of him. I would have bailed out.
That was a very, very good throw, and they're all the way down to the 2-yard line here.
Great catch by Delquan Bigelow.
In traffic?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 2 receivers to the right, 2 tight ends to the left. Both tight ends motion to the right, so this is probably going to be a run with Tapscott to the right. And it is just that. Tapscott finds space and gets in. 6 more points for the Cougars.
Yeah, quick bounce outside to the right, and he found the crease he was looking for. And good offensive play call there, and the Cougars 2-touchdown lead.
So the extra point team comes on for the Cougars.
That's the way you capitalize on a turnover, too. You don't want to just get 3 points, especially when you get the football right there at the 25-30. You want to get 6.
So Taft's got 2 touchdowns this evening, almost matching what he's got on the season. He's got 3 on the season, 2 tonight. Let's see if he can keep it going. 13-0 for your Cougars.
What makes Averett special to me is the family-oriented and diverse background and communities. Here at Averett, we believe in one family, one team philosophy. As an RA, being able to guide people in the right direction and building a community helps me develop leadership. Also, being a leader on the football team and captain, it helps me guide people to be better each and every way.
Your Cougars lead it 13-0. Westbury back to kick. And Zach, what do you think so far? We're almost done with this first quarter. What do you think so far about this game?
Well, I think we've been pretty good at predicting it. I mean, we talked about Tapscott and turn the ball and give it to him, not that hard. And they've done a lot of that, but Averett's defense has come up big with the turnover and the short drive there for a touchdown. But I think the big storyline is LaGrange hasn't been able to do anything offensively, and they're going to have to throw the football here if they want to make this a contest, I think.
Right. Brendan Scott's not looked bad, but he can't do it by himself.
Right.
He's gonna have to need some help from that passing offense to take some pressure off of him running wise.
Now, will we see Caleb Spear, the junior, who maybe more of a thrower?
And I'll tell you what, Spear looked good in warm-ups to me. He's got a good ball. He's got a good follow-through on it. Motion across. Jet sweep here for the Panthers, and it doesn't pick up much.
Yeah, it looks like Jeremiah Ingram picked up maybe 1 or 2.
And he kind of slid to the ground there to avoid any unnecessary contact that he didn't need to take.
I mean, I do like the play call. I mean, trying to mix it up a little bit, but Averett's defense was ready for it.
3 receivers to the left of Perkins again, 1 to the right. That'll be Benjamin by himself. Motion across again. This play is wrapped up in the backfield.
That didn't have a chance. Devin Merritt's in there.
And that was
Jonathan Terrell's in there.
Freshman, and you mentioned him earlier in the game, one of the Sanford boys. Getting in the backfield and making a play, and he was back there before Scott could even take the handoff.
Right. I mean, that was that kind of reminded me of that play where Jadeveon Clowney
Yeah.
had that big hit. Was it at Michigan?
It was against Michigan, yep.
I just saw that highlight the other day, and that kind of reminded me of that. Before anything could get going, he was already hitting the backfield.
Right. Minute 20 on the clock here in the first quarter. 3rd and 13 again for the Panthers. They motion Scott out. Perkins drops back. And just overthrows a receiver there. That was number 80, Jeremiah Ingram.
Yeah, Ja'Cory Burley, too, the free safety, did a nice job helping out. He was there over the top. pretty strong throw, just a little bit too long there up the sideline.
And you've got to think, does Perkins have chemistry issues? Maybe with Lindsey being the starter the rest of the year, did he get all of the number one, first team reps with all these receivers, and the chemistry is built more towards Lindsey than Perkins? And is that the passing issue, or
could be? But I think you got to credit Averett's defense too. I mean, they're not making it very easy.
Webster will return this kick as well. He's got a crease, this Webster. Still on his feet. And Webster, he's doing exactly what you want your punt returner to do. Standing there, catch the ball, and pick me up about 10.
Mm-hmm. And he almost shook loose there again. I mean, He almost did that on his first punt attempt, too. He's not a big guy, but he's hard to bring down. It's not often you see one guy bring Webster down.
And Webster, another guy who's just a sophomore. And he's showing signs. He's got 2 years of growth and development. Again, that's what you like to see if you're a Cougars coach, is your young guys coming in and making an impact.
Mm-hmm.
So Jacob Wright and his Averett offense on the field, 1st and 10 from the 45. That's Chris Francis in the backfield this time. Francis finds a little bit of space and picks up about 3.
Yeah, Francis ran right over that top linebacker for LaGrange, who we talked about so much, Randy Fillingame at the top.
Webster and Tapscott will check back in. And Jacob Wright's calling for he sees something he likes in this matchups-wise against this defense, and he's asking the coaches, hey, can I run this play? And I think they gave them the go-ahead. Trips left. Tapscott lined up to the right. Webster motions. They give it to Webster, and man, look at Webster go. Webster picked up that first down quick and in a hurry.
Just a great burst and got outside and picked up the first down. Webster's such a nice luxury to have because I think you could throw to him. You could throw some screens. You could run those jet sweeps.
Yeah.
Just a great guy to have to be creative on offense.
A utility guy is what they call him. Utility or
right.
Athlete is what he would be listed as on his recruitment profile. Not a running back, but an athlete. So at the end of the first quarter, your Cougars lead at 13-0, and they are driving the field with 1st and 10 to go from the 34. We're going to take a break here on the Averett Sports Network.
If you have the talent and dedication to succeed in school and in sports, we'll provide the opportunity.
Going back to school is not just for the kids. Averett University has degree programs for working adults who want to pursue their bachelor's or master's online or on campus. Visit gps.averett.edu for more information.
And we are back in live, 13-0. Your Cougars lead it against the Panthers of LaGrange, and they are moving the ball 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. Jacob Wright will hand it off to Chris Francis, and Francis puts his head down and moves past the linebacker down past the 30.
I haven't had many opportunities to see Francis, but he runs hard.
Yeah, he does. Absolutely.
Hard runner. 2 carries, he's run over 2 different guys already.
So here we go, 2 wide receivers to the left. Nautica McCollum in, for the Cougars. Big tight end, number
and big
46.
is an understatement.
Ball goes back to Francis. Francis bounces off of a lineman trying to move past the line of scrimmage at least.
I'll tell you what, I think if Francis would have bounced that out the other direction, went out to the left side, I think he had some daylight. But the pursuit was coming from that side where he got tackled from. Good defensive play here. Good stop by LaGrange. Sets up 3rd down and 5.
3rd down and 5. Francis stays in the game. Trips left for the Cougars. One safety back for LaGrange. Francis out left, way out left. And this is a good completion to Lambright, but it's going to come back, and it's going to be a holding.
Yeah, great throw and catch, but I think you're right. I think it's going to be a hold up front here, and they're going to push the Cougars back.
Nothing. Holding called against Aaron Pace there.
Pace, the junior, 6'3", 300 from Scottsville, Virginia. So that miscue sets him back now, closer to the 40-yard line. Probably a pass now, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely a pass. I'm sorry, I got zoned out and watching the game. Definitely a pass coming up here for the Cougars. 3rd and 15. And call him in. He motions. Tapscott moves right. A screen pass, actually. It's a very interesting play call for 3rd and 15. You can see everybody, all the offensive players on the field kind of holding their hands up like, I don't know what happened there, but like you said, interesting play call for 3rd and 15 anyway.
Yeah, they try to set it up for Gerard Mosby. I guess, I mean, situationally it's not too bad of a call when you're up 13-0 if he gets loose. And that's one of those plays. If it works, you look like a genius. If it doesn't, you do not look like a genius. You look like the exact opposite, right? But, punt here, and still LaGrange have to go the length of the field.
They might have been playing for the punt here, knowing Westbury probably can pin him deep right here. Let's see what he can do. Puts the nose of that football down. This is going to have some backspin on it. Oh, and so
almost
close.
Got there.
I think that was Kasim Black that was a fingertip away from being able to push the ball back out of the end zone.
But still, nonetheless, LaGrange has to go 80 yards, and we really haven't seen them capable of doing that just yet.
Right. Yeah, they're going to have to get a lot better at throwing the football. They're just going to have to. And honestly, they should come out and throw a screen pass or throw a check down, just something to get Cam Perkins comfortable back there in the pocket throwing the football.
I agree with you 100%.
It doesn't have to be anything way down the field. It's just got to be something that's a guaranteed completion. And they go right to Scott. And ball's out on the ground again.
That's the second time Scott's put it on the ground. He might have been down there by contact. I think that's what the officials say now.
Yeah, it brings up 2nd down is what they're – yep.
Still a great pursuit by the defense. Sets up 2nd and 10. Hunter Hinson had a pretty nice first half here. Was in on that play again.
Hinson, one of the better safeties on his team. He will step up in the run game, and he'll make a difference in the pass game as well. Perkins, this has to be a pass play here. 2nd and 10. And it is. And that's a good completion there to Ingram.
Yeah, Jeremiah Ingram gets about 5 yards there. Actually, maybe a little bit more, 6, 7 yards.
And that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be terribly far down the field. It's just got to be a completion.
Yep, quick throw, quick out route. Sets up a 3rd and manageable here.
3rd and 3 here for LaGrange. Interesting to see if they'll go with the run to Scott or if they'll keep it in the hands of Perkins. This might actually be a design run for Perkins here. I look out for that. Cam Perkins design quarterback run. And he actually throws an out route, gets it to Ingram. Or that's not Ingram, excuse me. It's actually wide receiver number 89, Landon Emery, the freshman out of Macon, Georgia.
Yeah, Emery, 5'7", 160.
Made a move and got upfield, didn't he?
He did. It looked like it was just going to be a quick completion, first down tackle, but he cut it back to the middle of the field, and a big play there opens things up for LaGrange.
And that's what you need to get Perkins confident in throwing the football. Play action. He's going to go down the field here.
That was just indecision there, and that gave enough time for Javon Lofton to find him. But he didn't know if he wanted to throw it there or just tuck it and run. He had to make a quicker decision.
And I think he was getting ready to run and saw a receiver down the field late and didn't know if he wanted to just keep, like you said, indecision, just keep running or try and make the pass.
I think he had a lot of room if he would have bounced it out to the right side. I think at least could have got maybe 5-6 yards out of bounds.
So we go under 10 minutes on the clock here in this first half. Two receivers to the right of Cam Perkins. Play action pass complete.
That was Fryer, big tight end. Actually listed as a wide receiver, but he looks more like a tight end.
6'2", 215. He looks bigger than that.
Right. But they're opening up here. I mean, this is pretty impressive. They're letting Cam Perkins throw the football, and it's, those short intermediate routes, but it's working right now.
3 completions in a row for Cam Perkins.
Now maybe do they go back to the run? Do they try to get Scott more involved now that they've opened things up through the air?
3rd and 3, I think now is a perfect time to go to Scott here. And let Perkins throw it. Just run. Yes, sir. He runs and picks it up.
He almost wanted to throw it, too, but he had the first down.
He had the first down, right. That's what I was looking at. I was like, just take it.
Right.
Just be smart here. Take the first down, move the chains, and set up for the next play.
I think he might have hurt his own sideline as well. I can hear him over here saying, run, get the first down. It's an impressive drive here. It's exactly what the Panthers needed.
This is their best drive of the game. This is the best they've looked all game as a complete offense. Perkins, three pass completions in a row. 2 receivers to the left, a tight end that way as well. And they go to Scott on first down. Scott's bouncing it outside.
There was a flag thrown, though, on the far side. There might have been an offsides somewhere on that right side, a false start.
And so that'll negate that big run by Scott there. And that sends head coaches crazy on offense when you just don't line up in the right spot, because now you've had a big play it went from a 10-yard positive to a 5-yard negative.
Changes the whole complexion of that drive. I mean, you're inside the 15 and got everything working for you. Now you're backed up to the 25, 1st and 15.
And they're still in a position where it's still first down. They can still go right back to Scott here, or they can let Perkins throw, and they do go to Scott. Scott's tripping forward, and he tripped that whole time for about 7 yards.
That was a good, strong run. He almost tripped up a couple different times, but able to keep his feet, and Terrell England made the play.
Great balance shown there by Brandon Scott.
Yeah, Scott averages about 92 yards on the ground per game. So, I mean, it's a very formidable back.
Double tight set for LaGrange. Receiver split out to either side as well. Scott in the backfield with Perkins. Perkins calls for the snap, comes in kind of high. Play action slant caught by Ingram, and that's a touchdown for the Panthers.
That throw was right on the money, too. In stride, and here come the Panthers. That's exactly what they needed. And how do they do it? Through the air with Cam Perkins.
And
really impressive drive.
That was a really good throw by Cam Perkins there. Really good play action. Hauled in the high snap. And here's LaGrange with their own fake formation as well. And if you're a defense, you see that formation, you're on the field yelling, gate, gate, gate. I don't know why that's the word for that formation for everybody, but it is. Field goal, extra point. I called it everything in the book. Extra point up and good for LaGrange. So 13-7, they cut it to just a one-score game now. And that was, like you said, a great job. Great drive by LaGrange. Cam Perkins looked fantastic.
Yeah, just like that, they're right back in the football game. And, the way that was going, 14-0, LaGrange can't move the football. This might get ugly, right? And now it's 14-7, and you're right in the football game. Come on out, get a stop if you're Averett. One of those long drives would be nice, right? A nice sustained drive, put some points up on the board before half.
Yeah, just if they could lean on Tapscott right here and pick up about 6 yards a carry, that's an ideal drive.
Yep. I think that's so much more demoralizing to a defense than a quick hitter. I mean, it'd be great. I mean, streak down the sideline, make it 21-7. But one of those 6-minute ground and pound, make it 21-7. Just sets a different message, I think, going into that second half.
And it wears out the defense because they're on the field for 4 or 5 minutes at a time.
Right.
They don't get a chance to go and breathe. High right. They're not going anywhere near Tapscott. They're going to start putting Tapscott in different jerseys so teams don't recognize him.
Yeah, hide him somewhere as the up man.
And so here comes Jacob Wright in this Cougar offense. Tapscott and Webster both in the game with Jacob Wright. Of course, Webster can be used as a wide receiver and will be used as a wide receiver here. A trips right formation. Webster motions, and they give it to him. And a big hit there from LaGrange.
Yeah, defense was ready for that jet sweep that time. Bryce Worthy came up, freshman 5'10", 195. Made a big-time hit there on the running back.
And so here we go. Empty set here for Jacob Wright. 2nd and 11. They lost a yard. Let's see what Jacob Wright can do in the backfield by himself. And he found Chase Nixon, one of his favorite targets.
Yeah, Nixon was wide open, sitting there for a long time, but Wright was flushed out of the pocket and then finally found him. But still sets up a 3rd and long here. So LaGrange in a good position to get the football back if they can get a stop here. Only down by 7. By 6, rather.
3rd down and 9 coming up. Trips left this time. Tapscott in for extra blocking protection. And that ball comes in just high for Lambright.
He had him, too. And Wright had a lot of time, not a lot of pressure, just a high throw. So LaGrange is going to get the football back. Good stop there, good 3 and out.
And that's a hard throw to make. He was standing on the opposite hash, and Lambright was over there, just waiting on him. And if you're right, you've got to put it in a position where only Lambright can get it. And those aren't the easiest throws to make as a quarterback, but nevertheless, 4th and 9, great job for the LaGrange defense there.
No, you're right. Those long throws across the field like that are tough throws.
Flags come flying all over the field. Didn't necessarily see what the flag is, but I heard the crowd yelling about it.
Looked like there could have been a little extracurricular activity there. Troy Goodrick.
Was a block in the back called against LaGrange.
Yeah, Goodrick was the guy that got blocked in the back. It's the long snapper going down there.
Getting downfield trying to make a play.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see if Cam Perkins and this LaGrange offense can capitalize on the 4-and-out that the defense gave them and keep the momentum from their touchdown drive just a minute ago. Ball goes to Scott to start the drive. Scott able to find some space, and that's Romello Herbin.
I tell you what, the big guys up front did a nice job on Ledbetter because he was right there at the point of attack ready to make a play, but they put 2 helmets on him, and Scott ran right by him. Big pickup on first down.
And LaGrange, their past 2 drives, they've looked like a formidable offense. They've looked like they can pass and run the ball. So here we go. Scott in the backfield with Perkins, 2 receivers out to the right, a tight end on either side of the offensive line. And they go right back to Scott, and Scott picks up another first down.
That was a big hole up the middle, and this offensive line blowing some holes open here on this drive. Now, last drive it was through the air. So far it's been Scott on the ground. Good balance here.
Right back to Scott. Shakes away from a D lineman and picks up about 2. And that's going to, what Scott's doing right now is going to help Cam Perkins out a lot because he's going to step back and he's going to rip a play action pass just like he did on that touchdown. A play action slant across the middle, and it's going to go for 20 or 30 yards.
This Cougars defense needs a big play.
Absolutely.
They need a big play in the backfield to get them some confidence.
Different running back in the backfield this time for LaGrange. That's James Moore. And go to him. Moore not able to find much. Showalter wrapping him up.
Yeah, nice tackle there by Showalter, making sure that stayed right at the line of scrimmage, setting up a 3rd and long here.
3rd and 9 yards to go coming up for LaGrange. Let's see what Cam Perkins can do because it's no secret that he's throwing the football here.
Yeah, on the other side, do you dial up a blitz here? Do you put some pressure on the quarterback?
They've got 4 receivers. You could probably afford to bring one more. The Cougars do not. They only rush 4. Perkins running, scrambling, and throws it away.
Well, you can rush 4. If one of those 4 is Ledbetter, he's probably going to get there. So
right.
He was right in the face.
He got there, and he was double-teamed as well. Still got to the quarterback.
Yeah, that's a big stop. That's a big stop. Perkins, the only thing he could do there is just throw it away.
And an interesting play call. The radio guy for LaGrange told us about this. Perkins is going to stay back around midfield. He could very well punt the football from right here. Or this could be a fake. It's probably be a quick punt. Trying to draw that Averett defense off sides. And he does punt the football, and a heck of a leg there. Goes deep into the end zone. He almost pinned the Cougars deep there. It didn't go far into the end zone.
It was funny, too. Perkins was like, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to kick it that hard, that high. He was trying to pin him deep. Not a punter, on the depth chart, but definitely capable.
Yeah, for sure.
Leg.
Didn't even get a good run up there. Just kind of one step and laid into it. A little bit over 3.5 on the clock here in this first half. Snug formation. That means all 4 receivers are in tight to the offensive line here for Jacob Wright. Joshua Tapscott in with him. They motion Mosby, trying to check man coverage or zone. Wright steps up. And he's going to pick up about 4.
Yeah, it was a good play there. Good heady play by the quarterback. Nobody open downfield. Filling game with the tackle, of course.
Just the second rush attempt by Jacob Wright all game.
Yeah, the one other one was a nice play up the middle a few drives ago.
Wright steps back again. Across the middle this time, he finds Mosby. Mosby breaks loose. One man to beat. And the Cougars, just like that, Gerard Mosby, sophomore wide receiver, goes in for 6.
And Jacob Wright on the other side of the field giving all kind of love to those offensive linemen. Thank you for all the time back here in the pocket. Let me find my wide receiver down the field.
Absolutely.
And Mosby made one-man miss, and that was it, to the house.
And that was about a 73-yard touchdown. Wright, like you said, with the good pass, but Mosby able to create the space on the other end. And the Cougars again in that 2-point conversion formation. Looks like they'll step back and let Westbury put this through the post. Ball up and good for the Cougars, 20-7. Your Cougars lead it. What a pitch and catch there by Jacob Wright and Gerard Mosby.
That was a good answer. They needed that because LaGrange had a lot of the momentum there.
Yeah.
Toward this, back half of the second quarter, and they stole that momentum right back to the Panthers. At least for the time being, here late in the second.
And now the defense needs to come out and have another good drive right here. Needs to either have another 4-and-out or another turnover, but they can't let LaGrange drive the field on them like they've been doing. They've got to shut the momentum out of LaGrange right now if they want to get all that momentum back and get these fans really back energized.
LaGrange has 2 timeouts left, 2:55, so a lot of time still, and they've shown that they can get it done through the air as well, so we'll see what happens here.
And I think they'll probably take their time with this drive, lean on Scott to get them down the field, and if they have to, they'll kick a field goal and take a 10-point deficit in the half instead of a 13-point.
That last drive, they opened it up with 2 big runs by Scott. Then things went awry, and Averett's defense rose to the occasion. But you're right. I think they go back to Scott, their bread and butter on offense.
Another touchback for Cole Westbury.
Nothing new to see here. Cole Westbury through the end zone, right? I mean, he's so good at what he does, though, it almost kind of gets boring. You know, when people are so good at what they do, you kind of forget how good they really are.
You kind of expect it. You
right.
really expect that he's going to kick a touchback every
right.
time.
Which is a hard thing to do, but makes it look very easy.
Cam Perkins trotting back on the field with Brendan Scott behind him. 2 tight ends and a receiver to the left of Perkins. 1 receiver to the right. Play action pass. They squeak a fullback out in open field.
That was Case Giles, and that play was wide open. Really good play call. First down.
Nobody on the Cougars expected him to get open. And Terrell England made a really good tackle there. You don't see corners stepping up to tackle fullbacks very often by themselves, and got low and took out the legs and did a really good job.
Yeah, Giles, big guy, 5'10", 235, so hard to bring down.
I mean, it looks like it's all muscle. Doesn't look like there's any fat on it. Perkins again going over top this time against England. And how about that, Tyler Benjamin?
What a catch by Tyler Benjamin. You talk about high-pointing the football.
High-point the football,
That's
yeah.
exactly what they preach. He went up and got it.
And a little Timmy toe tap on the sideline there.
Yeah, we mentioned him at the top. Now, statistically, it doesn't look like he's one of their top wideouts, but he's been out for 2 weeks.
Right.
First 2 weeks of the season. He's back.
And they'll take him matched up against anyone. Like you said, Perkins just stepped back and put it up for him and, let Benjamin do the rest. Almost had Scott wrapped up for about a 2-yard loss. Instead, Scott scoots forward for a 2-yard pickup.
Yeah, Devin Merritt came up there, made a nice play. Still, only a pickup of about 2 or 3.
And we mentioned the Cougars have about 2 defensive line sets that they'll rotate in and out. Just like that, they rotated 4 fresh D linemen in, and that's big going up against a freshman O-line to be able to keep 2 sets of 4 studs on that D-line able to rotate in and stay fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Play action pass. Perkins steps back. He launches deep. And Kasim Blackwood does a good job of getting a hand in.
Great coverage.
Because Benjamin was open, and that was a good pass.
It was a great throw. It was a great route, and maybe even a better defensive play by Kasim Black. I mean, that was good all the way around.
Kasim Black did a great job of getting back in phase and stopping that play. 3rd down and 8 coming up for your Cougar defense. LaGrange on the 30-yard line just outside of the red zone, and 1:13 left here in the first half.
This Cougar crowd getting involved now.
Cam Perkins making adjustments. Hunter Henson stands over top of a slot receiver. Perkins looks that way and fires, and just too high. And I think if you're Perkins, you got to know who you're throwing to. You can't throw it too high over the head of a fullback. He's not, Benjamin. He's not going to go up and, and not a knock against him, but Benjamin maybe can make that play, but you've got to put it closer in the catch radius of a fullback.
Sure, and I think what made that throw really difficult because Ledbetter was right there in front of the face of the quarterback. Again, what else is new? But he stood in there. He tried to make a strong throw, but I think that may be why it went high because of the pressure.
Timeout called by the Cougars, 4th and 8. The field goal team on for LaGrange, 20-7. Your Cougars lead it here on the Averett Sports Network.
I think me being involved with SAC, along with my involvement with the men's soccer team, has made my experience at Averett amazing. At first, I didn't really want to get involved around campus, but since jumping in the deep end, I feel like I've had a brilliant experience, and me being able to help Averett whilst Averett's helping me is probably the best experience.
This is Alex Rivera on to attempt about a 40-yard field goal for LaGrange, and it is no good. So the Cougars will take over at the 30 now with about a minute on the clock.
Yeah, 2 timeouts left, 1:03, and you've got a great field goal kicker, so an opportunity to go down here, maybe get 3 more points before halftime. What do you think?
That's the decision you got to make. Do you want to try and drive the field and get some extra points on the board, or right before half, or do you just want to take it to the half, go make your halftime adjustments, and come back on the field? These are the decisions that are all held to head coach Cleve Adams. He makes the call on this, and they're in that snug formation. So, yeah, I'm not sure what you do here. This is all up to him. Mosby motions over. Wright steps back, and he will pass. Finds Lambright. Lambright trying to make a move, trying to make a man miss, but he does pick up a first down. And it looks like the Cougars would go tempo offense here, so it looks like they are trying to move the ball down the field. Of course, the clock stops after every first down until the chains are reset.
Good first down play.
Wright steps back again. Dumps it off to Tapscott. Tapscott
Get out of bounds.
is going to eventually get out of bounds after picking up another first down.
Now you're at the 44-yard line. Still got both those timeouts left.
Cougars moving well. Jacob Wright playing smart. Ball on the 40, on the 44 now.
Realistically, what is Cole Westbury's range? I mean, can he hit from 55?
More than likely. I mean, you'd be comfortable letting that kick happen if you were down to a second and no timeouts, but you want to get him inside of a 40-yard kick. So they got to call a timeout. You hear Coach Cleve Adams yelling for it as Jacob Wright picks up about 6.
Still 1 timeout remaining, 33 seconds left. So right now you're at the 39. It's about a 56-yarder from here. So ideally you want to get probably about 10 more yards.
Ideally you want at least 10 more yards. You want another first down, and that way you're well inside of his kicking range. But if you're forced to, I mean, another 2 or 3 yards, and you'd be inside of his radius at least. You'd be inside of his radar that he could hit from. But, I mean, you got 33 seconds left. You got another timeout. That timeout's going to be used to stop the clock for the field goal team. And then once that happens, once they set up, you can expect LaGrange to call a timeout to ice Cole. And that's barring the Cougars getting in the end zone here, Jacob
we've
Wright,
seen some big play capabilities.
Right.
Cole's going to go down there and get loose on the sideline.
Wright kind of tripped And so he's going to take off. Jacob Wright picking up the first down. I think they're going to call that unsportsmanlike conduct on Jacob Wright, actually.
Yeah, he kind of pointed the football at a person, but I don't think I've ever seen that called for unsportsmanlike.
I think
could be
Jacob,
taunting.
I think what Jake was trying to do is extend the ball as he got out of bounds.
Well, you would think he would do that with the other hand, though, away from the defender. Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's tough. That's tough, Eddie. But you know what?
And Coach Adams is going to argue for his player, you know. He's going to argue his case for
Right.
Jacob Wright, but once they get back into the film room, Coach is going to grill Jacob for that one. You can't let that happen.
He had the first down out of bounds near the 30-yard line and now backed up.
It makes it 2nd down and 11 for the Cougars, 25 seconds on the clock.
Still an opportunity here to get in Westbury's range.
Unfortunate if you're Jacob Wright for that to happen. Nevertheless, 3 receivers to the right of Jacob. Got to have short-term memory loss if you're a quarterback. 1 receiver to the left. Chase Nixon motions over, even set now. Wright drops back. He zips that one in, but a great job by LaGrange of breaking that pass up.
Yeah, Zach Mason, freshman, safety, there to make a nice play on the football. 3rd down here.
So now you're in a different spot here if you're Coach Adams. Now you're in a difficult position. It's 3rd and 11 from the 45. That'd be a really long field goal for Cole Westbury to make. Ideally, if you can get at least 5 more yards, you're feeling at least a little better.
Yeah, and I think really if you can get something close to that first down marker and call a timeout to set up a chance here, it's pretty ideal. That's just a tough throw to make to Nixon. Cross your body on the run.
To someone moving also across your body as well. He was running in the opposite direction. So this will probably bring on the punt team and not the field goal team. Yeah, and that's what it looks like. The punt team will come on for the Cougars.
Unfortunate for sure. I mean, there was a chance there to get some points, at least 3, to close the half.
13 seconds on the clock. Do you think Perkins comes out and tries to just let one fly deep, or do you think they just take a knee and take it into the half?
Yeah, I think in this situation, just take a knee.
And Westbury again almost getting it down on the 1.
Yeah, now 4 seconds left. I would imagine maybe just turn and give it to Scott and head to the locker room.
Either that
or take a knee.
Or take a knee. I mean, either one. There's no need to try anything like that right now. The Cougars are going to have a bunch of people deep anyway. And they do just that. So your halftime score here at Daly Field, 20-7. Your Cougars lead it by 13 points. Jacob Wright having a good first half. Tapscott having a good first half. Ledbetter already with a sack in this game. This defense playing great. Jacob Wright trying to talk to the refs about that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. But we're going to go to break here. We'll be back in about 15 minutes.
Being a student athlete at Averett and being an RA, it is very time consuming, but it has gotten me, I'm much more involved than I was last year. I have really good relationships with all my residents that I didn't have before, and the student athlete, it's nice to be able to relate with my teammates and other student athletes. I'm kind of in the middle ground, so I get both sides, make those connections with both groups.
What makes Averett special to me is the family-oriented and diverse background and communities. Here at Averett, we believe in one family, one team philosophy. As an RA, being able to guide people in the right direction and building a community helps me develop leadership. Also, being a leader on the football team and captain, it helps me guide people to be better each and every way.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
If you have the talent and dedication to succeed in school and in sports, we'll provide the opportunity.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
What makes Averett special to me is the small class sizes. I definitely chose Averett because I wanted, to know my professors. Another thing was I made a promise to myself in 5th grade that I wanted to play collegiate soccer.
And welcome back to the Averett Sports Network. Your Cougars lead it 20-7. Your Cougars got out to a 13-point lead in that first quarter and added on to it. But over on the LaGrange side, Cam Perkins not having a bad game. 8 for 13, 129 and a touchdown. His longest was 42. He's been sacked twice, and he also had a 53-yard punt to add on to that. Nigel Farmer on the kickoff return. Nigel Farmer able to pick up some yards there. He's, an up man who's usually – up men are usually blockers, but he's a listed running back, so he's got some field vision.
But why did that happen? Because of the threat of Tapscott back there. They don't want to kick to Tapscott. They kick to an up man, but now great field position starting here at the 40-yard line.
Absolutely. And so here we go. Jacob Wright and Josh Tapscott back into the game here, starting off on offense for the second half. 2 receivers to the right of Jacob Wright, 1 to the left. He's also got a tight end over this way towards the bottom of the screen. Tapscott avoids a hitter in the backfield, but loses his footing.
Tapscott in that first half, 7 carries, 49 yards. Also had a couple catches for 29 yards. Had that long run, though, that 35-yarder out to the left. So he got most of those yards on that 1 carry.
Yeah. But Tapscott's someone who's going to keep getting the ball and keep his feet moving. He's going to bruise you if you're trying to hit him. He's not going to make it feel good. You're not going to want to tackle him again. Tapscott just a consistent running back. And they go to him here. His hole closed up quick, and he bounced over to another hole. He might have picked up 1 or 2, so they're going to have to turn to Jacob Wright here. Jacob Wright sees something he likes in the coverage.
You are right, though. I mean, that should have been a tackle in the backfield or maybe a no gain, but he still was able to find 3 yards by cutting it back, so sets up a 3rd and 7.
Peyton Haynes, that senior safety, the lone safety back there. So we'll see what formation the Cougars come out in. They come out in a snug formation. LaGrange is in man coverage here. So it looks like a cover 1. Jacob Wright having to escape filling game, and he does, and Gerard Mosby does not come down with the catch.
Oh, he dropped it going out of bounds. That was a great job by Wright to avoid the pressure. Find Mosby, but he just wasn't able to corral it there on the sideline.
Good start for that LaGrange defense.
Yeah, that was a good pursue by Randy Fillingame. Never got to Wright, but made him rush that throw maybe a bit.
That brings on Cole Westbury and the punt team for the Cougars. Westbury gets this one up and really gets into this punt here. And that's another one where his punt team just not able to get to it. Bounced on the one, but just too deep into the end zone for his team to get back and pull it back out into the field of play.
And that's the second time it was Kasim Black who almost got there. Right. I mean, if that ball would have just hung up a little bit longer, Kasim Black was right there to maybe down it inside the 5.
So here comes this Cougar defense. Joseph Ledbetter, Javon Lofton, Romello Herbin, all on that defensive line.
I'm anxious to see Cam Perkins here in the second half. I mean, he had a really nice first half throwing the football. 8 of 13, like you mentioned, 129 yards. We had a lot of question marks about him and his ability to throw the football, but and proved all of those wrong.
He's going throw for throw with the USA South Offensive Player of the Week. Scott doing what he does best, picking up a first down.
Yeah, Brendan Scott.
Or he actually picks up about 6 yards, excuse me.
Brendan Scott, a really hard-nosed runner, too. A lot like Tapscott. Very similar. I mean, just head down, going forward, north and south. Not a lot of east or west. Picked up a good chunk there.
He's disciplined. If it's an A-gap dive, he's going to hit the A-gap, and that's the way you teach it in the run game. You see Coach Cleve Adams was kind of landing into his offensive line there. The O-line is Coach Adams' pride and joy. He spends a lot of time with that offensive line, making sure they're right. High snap pulled down by Perkins. Scott hitting the backfield, and he will be wrapped up after running around for a little bit.
Yeah, Hunter Henson didn't make the play, but he made the running back cut back into the inside. He cut back right into the middle of the defense.
Absolutely.
So good play there. Sets up a 3rd down and 3 or 4.
You see Coach Don Warren down there. He used to play defensive end for this Cougar defense under Coach Adams and transition into being a coach. Just such a smart player when he was here. His transition to being a coach has been a smooth one. And he's one of the reasons this Cougar defensive line is a top team in the nation. Perkins play action, looking for a receiver, double pumps, and it harmlessly hits the turf.
Good pressure there by a couple Averett defenders and rushed the throw, and really nobody was open, even if he had time. It was good coverage on the back end, too.
And so the punt team of LaGrange will come in to see what they can do. Webster has returned, I think, 3 punts this game. 2 punts. He netted 23 yards, had that 17-yard return where he almost found some daylight.
Yeah, he's done a nice job in both the kick game and on offense.
Yeah. End over end punt.
He's got some room here.
Webster able to make something happen. He's got to beat the punter. He's got blockers out in front of him, getting chased from behind. And he's finally brought down. That's number 22, James Monroe, bringing him down. But Webster picking it up off the bounce with a defender right in his face and making something happen.
We got that bird's eye view, too. I knew something was going to happen there. I mean, he had daylight all the way back here at the 40-yard line. And he found a crease and ran past the punter, but somebody was able to track him down there right at the tail end of it.
And to have the confidence to pick that ball up in that situation
it was dangerous. I mean, because the defense was barreling down there, too.
But, I mean, he believes in his quickness. I would, too, if I had that quickness. He able to make a man miss in literally a half a second less than. So Jacob Wright and the Cougars in the red zone. They're on the 14-yard line. Play action, RPO, it looks like. And Jacob Wright will get taken down after a 1-yard pickup.
Bryce Worthy, freshman. I feel like we're saying freshman every time somebody makes a tackle for LaGrange. I mean, this is a very, very young football team. A lot of freshmen and sophomores on the field today, but Worthy has made a couple nice hits. Another one there.
But if they can retain these players, that'll be a good thing in 4 years. This defense is going to be very formidable in the next 3 or 4 years.
Definitely.
Tapscott in the backfield with Wright. McCollum over to the left. 2 receivers to the left as well. Ball goes to Tapscott. Tapscott trying to find an opening. This LaGrange defense has come out and played well in this second half.
Yeah, Tapscott stayed patient there, but he tried a couple different creases, couple different holes, but nothing doing. LaGrange was up to the task there, and it's 3rd down and 9.
Number 15, Brent Hammer, finds his way onto the field.
Senior wideout, just coming back from injury.
Absolutely. He was going to line up in that snug formation that the Cougars love. It's going to be the inside man on the ball for the Cougars beside Dante Lambright. Jacob Wright stands back.
And we got a timeout by LaGrange.
Timeout called, 20-7. The Cougars, 3rd down and 9 from the 13. They're inside the red zone. Let's see what they can make happen after this short break.
What makes Averett special to me is the family-oriented and diverse background and communities. Here at Averett, we believe in one family, one team philosophy. As an RA, being able to guide people in the right direction and building a community helps me develop leadership. Also, being a leader on the football team and captain, it helps me guide people to be better each and every way.
Being a student athlete at Averett and being an RA, it is very time consuming, but it has gotten me, I'm much more involved than I was last year. I have really good relationships with all my residents that I didn't have before. And the student athlete, it's nice to be able to relate with my teammates and other student athletes. I'm kind of in the middle ground, so I get both sides. make those connections with both groups.
And we are back live. Spread set for the Cougars. They come back in to snug, forcing that LaGrange defense to make some changes. Brent Hammer in the game. Jacob Wright stands back. Wright has to scramble. He's running. He's a live runner looking for the end zone. Drops the shoulder and gets inside the 5.
He got to that left hash quick, too.
Yeah, he did.
Put his head down. That's the thing about a quarterback, not afraid to put their head down. A lot of quarterbacks, just can't wait to get to the ground, whether it's sliding, get out of bounds. I mean, he puts his head and shoulder pad down to get that extra yard and picks up a first down.
First down on a 3rd and 9, picks it up with his feet.
Such a luxury to have.
1st and 4. You got to think they'll run behind the shoulder pads of Tapscott right here.
He's got 2 touchdowns in the red zone today.
Move both their tight ends over. We've seen this play happen before. Tapscott to the right, where he bounced it outside and got a touchdown earlier. This side he keeps it inside, and it looks like he got across, and he did. Same play that they ran on the opposite side of the field. Picks him up 6 again. That's Tapscott's 3rd of the day. 26-7 for the Cougars.
He was hovering off the ground. I mean, he was so low to the ground and kept those feet churning and punches it in for the Cougars.
And just like that, Joshua Tapscott matches his season for a touchdown total. He's got 6 on the season now, 3 just today. Caps off the hat trick for Josh Tapscott.
He's such a great back to have when you get inside that 5-yard line, because he finds a way to find 2 or 3 yards when nothing's there.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you need when you get inside the 5.
And that's why I say that stat where he has just under 200 yards of rushing just doesn't show how good of a back he is. It really doesn't.
Right. I mean, we saw that game of Randolph-Macon where he was kind of taken out of the game because of maybe scheme or what have you. Even talent level, you can argue on the other side for Randolph-Macon. But I think he's going to have a few big games still yet this year.
Cougars lead 27-7. Up by 20 points here in this game.
Can't get comfortable here, though, Eddie, because we saw, the Cougars were up 18 last time they were on this field in the 4th quarter. Gave up that big lead to Randolph-Macon.
Cougars play at home again next Saturday against North Carolina Wesleyan. That is a 6 p.m. game, so the lights will be on to play under the lights.
There we go.
At home. And that's actually the homecoming game. So you can expect a packed stadium, a hectic athletic director running around, Miss Meg Stevens like her head's cut off. Then after that, they travel to Huntington, 2 o'clock game. Then they're home against Maryville, then at Brevard, then home against Methodist. And that's the remainder of their schedule. And Westbury, again, putting this out the back of the end zone, outside of the field of play.
I was through the end zone, too. So it goes to show you, it doesn't matter which side he's kicking from. I mean, there's no wind today, but if there was, it really doesn't matter.
Westbury,
such a good kicker.
I was about to say, such a talented leg Westbury has.
It's hard to believe he's 0 for 2 on field goal attempts. It really is, but I think he'll bounce back. I think when they need him most, I think he'll come through. I mean, he's a guy that's been around. He's made big kicks before, from what you tell me. So, I mean, I think he's ready. He's prepared for that moment.
Against this team, he hit a 52-yard field goal 2 years ago here at Daly Field. Speed option looked like Scott thought it was going to be a different play call, but he adapted very well.
Sure did.
Like he thought he was coming for like an inside zone, but nevertheless, they pick up about 4 yards, so it worked no matter what he thought.
A couple different wideouts in the game here. Number 86, Taryn Westbrook, checked in the slot.
Another play action slant across the middle. And that one was going to Benjamin England, doing a good job of getting his hand in there and knocking it away.
You talked about him being the lead cover man, and that was a great play there. It was a pretty good throw, and got up there to bat it away. So
that brings up 3rd down and 5. 5 yards is still within range of Scott's average per carry. Or do you keep it on the arm of Perkins? We'll see here.
And Perkins, very capable runner. We haven't seen that a lot today, but very capable to pick up 5 or 6 here as well.
And just airmailed that one. But, I mean, that one probably could have been caught there by Landon Emery if he would have, dove and made a diving attempt. But nevertheless, ball too high.
Emery was open. He had that one big catch in the first half. He had that 42-yard catch in the second quarter.
And so that will bring up 4th down and 5 yards to go. The punt team for the Panthers comes out. Jaleel Webster back there to punt the ball, or back there to receive the punt, excuse me.
And I think that hit one of the Panthers, actually, and he's actually down now on the sideline.
So we're going to take a quick break as he has attended to. 27-7, your Cougars lead it. And we are back live here, the Averett Sports Network. Injured man was Avery Kingston, able to walk off the field on his own, under his own power.
Always a good sign there.
Yeah.
When you see that.
So the Cougars 1st and 10, ball on a 33-yard line. Tapscott in the backfield was right.
Oh, he overshot him.
And Mosby was open.
Mosby was streaking wide open again. He probably would have had a second touchdown today, and Wright just a little bit high. And you could tell he's frustrated back there with his hands on his hip and his head down. Knew he missed the wide out there.
And as a quarterback, you want to make every throw, but it's just you're not going to hit every pass. You're going to overthrow some, you're going to underthrow some, but it's there, and that's the important thing. And I think if they go back to that same play, it's probably going to be open again.
Yeah, Mosby's won that battle more than once today.
Go to Tapscott here. Tapscott not picking up much, but scrapping for every yard he can get.
There's some tussling going on there on the far side. It's Dante Lambright, and couldn't tell the corner, but lucky there was no flags thrown there on the far side.
Chris Francis checks in for Josh Tapscott.
I've been impressed by Francis. He's only received maybe, 3-4 carries? How many did he have in the first half? He had 3 in the first half. I was really impressed. Only 7 yards, but he runs hard.
Yeah. Runs right behind his pads. He ducks his head and keeps it moving. Great
Good
block there by Chris Francis. Ball found to Chase Nixon. What a block by Chris Francis.
Took out not one guy, but 2 guys, giving his quarterback some time to find Nixon and to keep this drive alive.
Things like that go unnoticed, but man, what an impact that block made because the Cougars able to pick up a first down. Now they're moving again right. Looking for Nixon on the out route again. Nixon makes a move and tries to get past the first down marker. He's going to be 1 yard shy, it looks like.
You're right. They don't always talk about a running back who's able to pick up the blocks, right? It's more about what you can do in the open field and what kind of big plays you can make. But you're exactly right. I mean, that was a winning play. I mean, that's a play that helps you win.
That's a helmet sticker play. And Chris Francis again, right there picking up about 8 yards.
Kept the feet churning. Picked up an extra 3 or 4 with somebody on his back. Good solid run.
Chris Francis, a senior running back for this Cougar team. Been here all 4 years.
Good play there by Austin Wagner, or else I think Francis would have had a little space, but Wagner making the shoestring tackle.
2nd and 10 here. Cougars playing with some tempo. Great pass and catch there, and guess who? Gerard Mosby.
You called it.
Yep.
You called it. You said they might go back to it. There it was. Slant over the middle. Mosby wide open, walks into the end zone. And what a strike there by Wright.
And that's what happens when you have, and it's not a knock to LaGrange, that's what happens when you have freshman linebackers and only 1 safety deep. You can't cover all of the crosser routes. It's too much confusion, not enough communication, and Jacob Wright just too experienced to let anything happen.
I tell you what, some other people who don't get all the credit they deserve, right? Those big guys up front, They're giving Jacob Wright a lot of time to throw the football here today. He's been sitting in the pocket, able to survey the field and pick out which receiver he wants to target.
Flags come out. The kick was good. I think they just waved off the field goal, so it's probably an offensive penalty. The problem with when you run that formation is you get illegal formations and offsides. Yeah. And that's what happens when you run those formations where you try and get a 2-point conversion. Guys running back trying to get in position, and you get one guy miss a line, and now you got to re-kick.
I'm just watching this offensive unit over here for Averett. All the camaraderie. Jacob Wright going down the line, shaking hands with all of his offensive linemen.
Yep. This should be another easy extra point here for Westbury. Almost blocked, but up and good. So that's going to make the score 34-7. Your Cougars leading now. The Wright to Mosby connection has been strong this game. They connected earlier for a 75-yard touchdown, and I believe that one's going to be about a 30-yard strike there. We're going to get the official ruling here in just a minute.
Yeah, what a way to open up this third quarter, too. It was 20-7 at half, and it's been all Averett here in the third quarter. 2 touchdowns, a couple extra points. Really blown this game wide open. And for right now, 11 for 17, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mosby, how about this? 3 catches, 107 yards, 2 scores.
How about that? And it was a 32, official ruling was a 32-yard touchdown catch, and getting Mosby open on those slant routes.
One thing I didn't realize about Mosby the first time we broadcasted together is how big he is. I mean, that's a big slot receiver.
Absolutely.
Over the middle of the field.
And he's got some speed on him, too. This ball will be returned by LaGrange. And I don't think he's going to – I think he's going to just reach the 20-yard line. So the Panthers will start on the 20. 1st and 10. The score is 34-7. And it looked like for a second there earlier on in the game that LaGrange was going to be able to hold on to some momentum and keep up here scoreboard-wise with the Cougars, but really letting the game get away from them here.
Yeah, this series dates back to 2012. Averett leads the all-time series 4-2. Good open field tackle. Is that England?
That was Terrell England.
On the far side.
Chasing down a slant. It's a throwback slant is what they call it. Ran a play action. The quarterback act like he didn't have the ball and turn around and sling it to his receiver.
Well, you would know this. I wouldn't. This is pretty reminiscent of last year's game, though, at least by the numbers, where Averett won at 38-14.
Absolutely. And Terrell England, another great pass breakup. Like that one, when he tipped it, it hung in the air for a little bit. I thought Kasim Black was going to be able to make a play on it, or Terrell England would be able to get his feet back up under him, but ball falls to the ground. Nevertheless, a great pass breakup there. Terrell England having a great game. He gave up that one big pass to Benjamin, but other than that, he's played a great game.
Yeah, Benjamin had that one big catch along the sideline. It was a great catch, really. I mean, but that's been a fun matchup to watch. We talked about it at the top with Benjamin and England.
And they're going to attack that same throw here, same pairing, and just over the outstretched arms of Benjamin. And you can argue that it was an overthrown pass, or you can argue that Benjamin's got to come down with that catch, but
yeah, it was just out of the reach, but perhaps if he dives, he catches it.
And if you talk to a receiver coach, what's he going to tell you? If it hits your hands, you got to catch it.
Right.
And that's, again, one of those ones of maybe if he lays out for it, he probably hauls it in. But, that's hindsight. It's over now.
It's like the punting team's coming back out here, and might be a timeout before that.
So timeout called, 34-7, 5:23 left in the third quarter here. It's 4th and 9. Your Cougars lead it here at Frank R. Campbell Stadium. The punt was blocked, and the Cougars are returning it. This is Chase Nixon running towards the end zone, still on his feet. Chase Nixon is going to be able to get into the end zone. Cougars score again off of a blocked punt.
Wow. I mean, you talk about all facets of the game today, and Nixon gets in for another touchdown. And you could tell some of these fans already headed for the exits as the Cougars comfortably in front now, 40-7.
And coming up with the block was number 19. And I don't think it was Lambright, but I think it was Isaiah Sharper, the freshman safety.
That's a big play for a freshman to make, too. I mean, you saw the sideline erupt as soon as that play occurred. And that's a play he'll remember heading into next season, I'm sure, and the rest of this season.
It was actually, the block will be credited to Kumar Price of the Cougars. And the touchdown awarded to Chase Nixon, a 26-yard touchdown for Nixon. And now the Cougars lead 41-7 with 5:07 left in this game.
Hey, Cougar fans, be sure to stop by Kickback Jack's after the game and try their award-winning wings while watching all the games on over 40 HD TVs. Located right down the road at 140 Crown Drive, it's Kickback Jack's. Great food, great fun.
Westbury really lays into this ball here. And another touchback for Westbury. No surprise again. You mentioned we grow to expect that from Westbury. We even grow to expect a 43-yard field goal to be good every time from Westbury. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but he makes it look so easy.
Yeah, such a good weapon to have. And I'll tell you what, this is really an impressive performance all the way around. Kicking game, defensively, offensively.
And I tell you,
special teams. I mean, this is a full performance by the Cougars today.
And Jacob Wright has the headset on. So I'm looking around to see if our other quarterback is warming up.
Yeah, there's going to be a face mask here, looks like. Ingram made the catch and picked up about 3 or 4, but it looks like there's a face mask.
And it's going to be called against Malik Pulliam.
Showalter made the tackle.
It's a spot foul. Really not what you needed if you were the Cougars, but just got to gear up and get ready for this new set of downs here. Ball almost popped free.
Yeah, Perkins' little shovel pass almost to the running back, Brendan Scott, that time. Turned into a pretty nice play.
Perkins steps back to throw again. Intercepted by Terrell England.
Yeah, he just jumped the route the whole way. England stepped in front of the wide receiver, and now we've got some extracurricular activities here.
Now what this should be is a flag on number 86, Terrion Westbrook, the freshman receiver of LaGrange. England, he tackled England, brought him down, and kept holding on to him, and England tried to knock his hand off of him and kept holding on to it, and it'll be interesting to see if England gets the penalty or if Westbrook gets the penalty, but
yeah, it's just a frustration play, too. I mean, you're down big and interception going the other way, and emotions got the best of the freshman there, Terrion Westbrook.
And it was just that unnecessary roughness by number 86, Terrion Westbrook. And that just puts the Cougars in better and better field position. You've got to think with a 41-7 lead in the third quarter, you got to think we'll see some of Bryce Jackson, the freshman quarterback, come in a little bit and get some experience against a good defense, a defense he's going to see for the next 4 years because they're all freshmen and sophomores. Maybe after this drive, I can't see Jake staying in too much longer as he completes a strike there to Lambright.
Lambright was wide open. I mean, not a defender even anywhere remotely close. Good throw that time again by Wright. And I agree with you. I think maybe this is his last drive. Then you bring in the freshman, Bryce Jackson. Let him get a whole quarters of work and good experience. Look at all the time that he has to throw.
That's going to be
oh, we got fists flying here. This is bad.
Oh, yeah, number 31 is going to get ejected.
The helmet came off of a big offensive lineman there for Averett.
Well, it's The initial penalty is going to be hands to the face by number 31, Matthew Turner, the senior defensive lineman. It's going to be hands to the face. And then
Michael Head got the helmet ripped off. And
yeah. So then after that, Michael Head keeps blocking. And I guess they start talking and yelling back and forth at each other. And then number 31 again, starts to throw punches.
Yeah, Timothy Davis, the junior O-lineman, comes in for Michael Head. But you never like to see that, Eddie.
Yeah, you don't, man. Let's see what he calls. Wow. So, interesting call. Both Michael Head and Matthew Turner disqualified and ejected from the game. So that means Michael Head will have to go and sit in the locker room for the remainder of this game, and Turner's going to have to go back to the buses because they can't be anywhere on the sideline.
Yeah, these are upperclassmen too. Michael Head, a junior. Matthew Turner, a senior. Both these guys got to know better than to do that.
And Coach Cleve Adams is going to lay into his team right now because there's no reason they should have an unsportsmanlike penalty right now on Jacob Wright. And then for Michael Head to get ejected. Now, it's not Michael Head's fault, but you've got to tighten the bolts. It's 41-7.
Right.
There's no need for these mental errors.
Right. And you don't want to see something where you got a player that can't play next week or what have you for 2-3 games, because that's how it can escalate. And all of a sudden you've got bigger problems. So I like that both teams gathered everybody around and set the record straight. Now let's get back to the regular game of football.
Let's play some clean football here.
Right.
Let's not let this get out of hand. Hammer split out right. Two receivers to either side of Jacob Wright, one motioning over. Wright steps back. Looking. Finds Hammer. And Brent Hammer picks up the first down.
I mean, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4. I mean, he's got all day back there to find his wideout, and Hammer came loose.
And Hammer came from one number to the other number, one set of numbers to the other side of the field. And for perspective, the football field is about 53 yards wide. So when you see a run across the field like that, it's a 50-yard run.
That's a good point. He had all day to find him.
Wright finds M.J. Morton that time, sophomore wide receiver.
Now, Jacob Wright really finding a lot of wide receivers here today. I mean, Mosby's been the big target, but getting other people involved here as well.
Here we go, 2nd down and 3 on the 11 for the Cougars. Ten seconds on the play clock. Speed option. Ball still on the ground. And Tapscott finally gets a hold of it. Wright held on to it for too long. So that goes, 2nd and 3. Now you're looking at 3rd and about 13 now after a big loss on that play.
We'll see if we'll find a formation here with a lot of wide receivers. Looks like 4 wideouts in there.
And that snug formation that they've been running all game. It's going to be a false start if there's a penalty. On delay of game. And I'm telling you, penalties like this late in the game is going to drive coaches insane because you're winning, but
Right.
that doesn't mean you need to get lazy mentally.
Yeah, you don't want to build any, negative habits moving into another game. And it's easy to do that sometimes when you're up big and you kind of just going through the motions more or less. But you've got to
Josh
keep it clean.
Tapscott on the wheel route.
That was a dime.
What a dime from Jacob Wright. Josh Tapscott, not known as the receiving back in this backfield, but he beats his man on the wheel route there, and the Cougars add on 6 more.
I mean, just a perfect route run, and then, just drop it in the basket. Drop it in the bucket. It was right there for Tapscott.
It looked beautiful the whole way. I mean, I couldn't even say anything as the play was happening. It just looked so good. Westbury on to add the extra point.
And for Wright, Eddie, 16 of 22 now, 3 touchdowns, 263 yards.
What a game.
Fresh off a 5-touchdown performance a week ago.
What a game. $1:34 left in the third quarter.
How about a QBR rating of 218? How's that sound?
Goodness gracious. It's just insane. And see down here, I see Bryce Jackson down here warming his arm up. I don't know if he's just getting some throws in to, stay active, or if he's actually warming up for the next drive.
Well, like you said, we're not coaches, but I'm with you. I'd get him some work the next drive. This one's comfortably, you got a comfortable lead, 48-7. Why not? Get the young guy in there, get him some work, and let him throw it around a little bit.
Yeah, Jackson's definitely coming in. He's taking his black, over-the-top jersey off, and he's talking to Wright. It's letting him know what he's going to see when he gets out there on the field and giving him some advice. Jackson's definitely getting in the game here. And I tell you what, I really like this kid as a quarterback. I've seen him throw around in warm-ups and in practice. He looks great. He's got good poise. We'll see what he's got next drive.
He's a freshman, 6', 205 from Durham, North Carolina. I'm anxious to see, too.
So here we go. Starting at the 25 is this Cougar offense. Caleb Spear in the game for this LaGrange offense now. And a false start called.
Yeah, Caleb Spear, we were watching him pregame. He was throwing 40-yard flat foot passes across the field.
He's got a good ball. Spear drops back to throw here. Pass almost intercepted by Ja'Cory Burley there.
Yeah, Spear had him. It just took too long to develop, and it allowed the defender to make a play on the ball.
And I tell you what, Spear didn't. One thing I noticed is Spear didn't take your traditional 3 or 5 step drop back. Kind of stood flat-footed and took 1 step, 2 steps, and saw what he saw and fired from the hip. It's all about the little things when you're a quarterback. Takes a 5-step there, moving around in the pocket, not seeing anything he likes, and I believe Malik Pulliam getting a sack on the play.
Yeah, Malik Pulliam coming up big there, and it was a nice job by Spear. He evaded the pressure momentarily, but then just hung on to the football way too long, and Pulliam able to pull him down.
Another thing, we talked about Westbury and getting used to him, but we're getting used to seeing this Cougar defense get sacks, and it's not easy to get sacks in football, and they're getting them at a regularity.
And we talk about Ledbetter. Obviously he's the guy that's got 11 or 12 now on the season, but overall they came in with 22, so it's other people getting involved as well.
And there's another one right there, almost forcing a safety, and that's number 41, Jonathan Terrell, getting in that time. This Cougar defensive line all in the backfield like they play back there.
Yeah, for Jonathan Terrell, we mentioned went to the same high school, Lee County High School, as Ledbetter. Jonathan Terrell, only a freshman, but came in with Couple sacks of his own. 4 sacks actually came in.
And I'll tell you what, Zach, it's 4th and 34. The ball's on 1, and LaGrange punting here. The Cougars are going to bring everybody except Jaleel Webster on this punt. Everybody is going to rush here and force this punter to make a mistake. He's got his heels on the back lines there.
You got a flag here from.
Oh, a delay of game. I was going to move it half the distance to the goal, which is not going to affect where the punter stands at all, but another flag warrants a safety.
1 second left here in the third quarter. A little bit under 1 second, looks like.
This punt does not go far at all.
Ledbetter cut on the sideline. He wanted to return it. Now 48-7. This is impressive.
Yeah. And so here we go now. We'll get a look at Bryce Jackson, the freshman quarterback, the future quarterback, barring anything happens, the future quarterback for this program. Definitely someone Coach Cleve Adams has his eyes on as being the face of the program for the next 3 years. And he's going to start all 15 minutes of this fourth quarter. This Cougar team has looked really good this game, I'll tell you that. Outside of the 2 big penalties, this Cougar team has looked really, really good this game.
Bryce Jackson went to Northern Durham High School. Not too far.
Waiting on the chains to get set. Motions his tight end over. He comes back. Ball goes to Chris Francis. Francis finding some room to run, and he picks up about 7.
Good solid run again by Francis. North and south runner, that's for sure.
Brings up 2nd and 3 for the Cougars. Ball on the 21, just outside of the red zone. Two receivers to the left of Jackson. Ball goes to Francis again. Francis finding his way down inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, David Barrows able to make a tackle there, and another freshman. They've made wholesale changes too. LaGrange's defense got some young guys in there.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what you do. Even if you're down, doesn't matter if you're down or up big. You go ahead and get your young guys in. Let them get some game time experience. Francis doesn't get the same amount this time. We'll bring up 2nd down. Picks up about 2. Ball to Chris Francis again. Francis bounces outside, and he's able to find 6 points.
There we go. That's a nice way to get the senior a touchdown. So Bryce Jackson was in, didn't do a lot of throwing, if any at all, but
the Cougars in with 6 either way.
The offense gets 6 on the board.
And if you're a coach or a player, you see Bryce Jackson, you got to – good job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to see him. You got to tell him good job. You got to let him know he did good out there. You know, not saying his confidence is low, but, you know, anytime you can motivate your freshman quarterback, you want to do it.
100%. And hopefully Jacob Wright pulls him aside, too, and kind of coaches him along in this process. I mean, that's a great guy to learn from.
Absolutely. And, I mean, even on a drive where you know all you're going to do is go in and hand the ball off, there's things you can look at before the play, you know, things you could look at the linebackers, see if you can see their alignment from where you're standing. Because once you get in the film room, you're not standing in the same spot that you were in, so you're not seeing the same thing. So there are things to take away no matter what you're doing when you get in.
I agree with you. And there's no experience like in-game experience, even if you're not, you know, three-step drop, get it out, and making the throws and what have you. Like you said, you're going through some reads, seeing the defense, reading the defense, and all those sort of things help, especially when you're a freshman quarterback.
55-7, your Cougars lead it.
Well, the Cougars well on their way to a 5-2 all-time record against LaGrange.
And it looks like barring anything miraculous this game, the Cougars will move on to 4-1 and then 2-0 in the USA South. LaGrange will move to 2-3, still searching for their first conference win. But I mean, both teams had some things they can look at as highlights. Both teams had some things they can look at on film and go, we can do better.
Yeah.
You know?
And this will be the 4th year in a row that Averett has beaten LaGrange. I'm really anxious for that one next week. Under the lights against NC Wesleyan.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. Anytime you can play under the lights, it's a good game.
It's always something special about those games, right?
It's like they put something in the lights to add some tension to the field.
I think players and broadcasters, everybody gets a little bit more amped, a little bit more juiced up for those under-the-light football games.
Spear back to throw for LaGrange. Finds a man, and goodness gracious, he bowls his way through a safety there.
I'm telling you, that's Fryer again. They got him listed as a wide receiver. Now, I mean, that is the biggest wide receiver I've ever seen. Seriously.
6 foot 205. He definitely weighs more than 205, not in a bad way at all.
Right.
Two receivers to the left of Spear this time, one to the right. Looking for a little 2 or 3 yard hitch route, but
dangerous throw too.
Didn't look to see if there was any defenders over there. He kind of knew that's where he was going before the play and was going to throw it no matter what.
Yeah, that's one of those plays where those quick hitch routes, those are the pick sixes.
Pass comes in high. Spear drops back again. He's going to throw it out of bounds this time. Might should have been intentional grounding.
Yeah, they wanted intentional grounding. Maybe the officials just electing not to call it at this point.
Throw it.
And now there comes a flag. Okay.
I mean, he was inside the tackle box and he threw it out of bounds. I mean, whether the score is run up or not, I mean, still intentional grounding.
Agreed.
That's actually going to make it 3rd and 15, I believe. It's actually going to make it 3rd and 20. Xavier Aguilar in at safety for the Cougars. Hard-hitting safety. And they're going to pick most of that back up.
That was the senior wideout, Devin Williams, shaking loose. That was a good, strong throw by Spear, too, over the middle.
And Spears looked like the offense is going to – I don't know if the coaches quite know if they want to go for it or not, but looks like the offense is staying on the field.
Yeah, why not?
Right. Cougars lead in this game. 4th down and 4. Let's see what Spear can do here. Oh, goodness gracious.
Jonathan Terrell again.
Terrell again in the backfield.
I want to say that's Terrell's 3rd sack. He's definitely got 2. I think he's got 3. And Jonathan Terrell came in with 4. He's a freshman, doesn't play every down. But think about that. A guy that doesn't play every down has 7 sacks on the season.
Right.
I mean,
rotation guy.
Right.
You know, which isn't a bad thing, but you're right. Like, it's insane.
Well, he's learning from one of the best in Ledbetter.
Yep, that's his 2nd sack of the game.
Okay, number 2. So he's got 6 now on the year.
Which is going to put him among the nation's best.
I mean, still, you look at Terrell and Ledbetter. That's a freshman and a sophomore. Ledbetter being the sophomore. I mean,
yeah,
they got a couple years to work together and grow together, and that could be pretty dangerous for years to come.
And that Lee County High School pipeline might start to be a little stronger if they start feeding Averett talent like that. I mean, Coach Cleve Adams is definitely going to make a few more trips out that way.
Yeah, they've got Terrell on the roster, Ledbetter, Jaden Covington, and Cam Horton, all from Lee County High School.
Nigel Farmer finding a hole, getting upfield. Man down on the field.
Farmer just your prototypical 3rd down back. I mean, that's exactly what you envision.
So timeout for the injured man on the field. 55-7, your Cougars lead at 3rd down and 4. Injured man able to get off the field safely. Didn't look too bad. Bryce Jackson still in at quarterback. Nigel Farmer in behind him. Ball goes to Farmer again. Fourth down and 1. Bet they go play act. I bet they fake the handoff to Farmer here and let Bryce Jackson try and pick this 1 yard up.
Still hasn't attempted a pass. I'd like to see it. Why not?
Nah. Why do that when you have Nigel Farmer?
Yeah, he can get a yard.
I'm sure he could get at least 1, right? Able to pick up at least 3 there. First down, Cougars. I think Coach Adams is, trying not to run the score up, which is why he's primarily handing the ball off. But, like you said, I would like to see, just for the sake of getting a freshman some experience, and this is a pass play here. I don't know if you saw Bryce Jackson. They yelled in the play, and he kind of clenched his muscles up a little bit like, yes, finally.
Good eyes.
It's definitely going to be a pass here. I don't know if the defense saw it, but I caught it. Play action pass more than likely.
Oh, a play action run.
Let him keep it. Yeah, he definitely knew that was for him.
I think you make a good point, though, with the Cougars really not trying to run this up. That's a classy move. I mean, up big here. No reason to really open it up.
Yeah.
And throw one down the field.
I mean, I'd still, some crossers, some hitches.
Right.
Some out routes just to, get them throwing against other people not, in that Averett uniform. Farmer with a stretch play. Not able to pick up much, so it's going to be third down and he actually picks up more than I thought. It's going to be about 3rd and 4 now.
Yeah, Joshua Bell did a nice job. Freshman in there. He's been in there majority of the fourth quarter. 5'5", 235 linebacker. Or D lineman, rather.
So let's see if this is the time to let Bryce Jackson open up 3rd and 5. Or do they just go to Nigel Farmel again and then bring out the field goal unit, Ball to Farmer. Farmer looking for something.
How about that? Spun out of a tackle.
Farmer's still on his feet.
Wow. What a play. What a run.
Farmer's too strong to be trying to bring him down by his jersey. That's not going to happen at all. He'll drag you to the end zone if you're trying to do that.
Good agility, too, and balance to keep control and not have one of those knees touch the turf.
First down for the Cougars. And it really looked like he was going to get tackled for a loss.
Sure did.
On that play, but he able to make something happen. Like you said, the agility of Farmer there.
Think they turn and give it to him again?
Absolutely. I don't see why not. It's going to be a holding, so this big run will come back. And that's a classic move by a D lineman, almost like when basketball players flop for no reason. Sometimes D linemen will go in to engage with offensive linemen, and they'll just throw their arms up and kind of fall backwards, and the O lineman's forced to catch them because you're blocking them. So your first instinct is to catch, but it looks like a holding. So
yeah, it was a holding, I think, on Jared Brown, and they took him straight out of the game. It's a teaching moment, coaching moment now. Yeah. That's what you could do late in the game like this.
Got to keep your hands inside. I think this is going to be a pass for Bryce Jackson, too. Came to the huddle kind of excited.
Yeah, this might be an opportunity here. Now it's 1st and long.
Make some adjustments at the line. Bring the tight end over. They do run with Webster, who gets the outside. Still on his feet. But it's going to be another loss. So it's going to be 2nd and a country mile. Another flag comes out.
Brandon Thomas makes the play.
If this is against the Cougars, they're definitely going to have to start passing the ball.
Cougars right now just getting a lot of offensive linemen in and out of there.
Caleb Pettigrew looks like he's going to make his way in. A sophomore offensive lineman, 6'2", 410 pounds.
Woo. 6'2", 410.
And he's coming in for Nehemiah Lesasane, senior O-lineman, 5'11", 370. Big guys on the offensive line, man.
Definitely.
Goodness gracious, it's 2nd and almost the whole football field.
Can't say I've seen this. Almost backed up to the 40.
2nd and at least 40 yards here to go. 2nd and like 38 to go. 2nd and 38 exactly.
Webster's still in there in the backfield.
They're going to have to let Bryce throw eventually on this drive here. Or, they could just keep going to Webster. And he scrambles around and finds about 2 or 3 yards.
That clock's moving. Under 6 minutes left to go here in the 4th. I'm with it. Maybe let him air one out here.
Yeah, just one here. It's 3rd and 34.
Really, if it gets intercepted, I'd let him maybe Throw one a little bit over the middle, something 10, 15 yards downfield. Nope.
Go back to Webster. Webster moves forward for about 5. And that's going to bring on either the field goal or the punt team.
Now they might go for it.
Fourth and 29. The Cougars are going to go for it on 4th down here.
Raymond Lucky, wide receiver, sophomore, 5'9", 145, gets in there. See if they maybe drop back and pass here.
Bryce Jackson will drop back. Looking across the middle, finds his man. Ball comes out. That's a fumble. And a recovery by LaGrange.
Well, that's sophomore tight end, Aaron Howe. 6'4", 230, made a great catch, but
senior linebacker Parker Lancaster coming up with the football.
Forced the fumble. Pretty good throw, though.
Yeah.
By the freshman quarterback.
I thought it was a good throw. Hit him in the hands.
Yeah.
You just got to come down with that if you're Aaron Howe. That's a 15-yard penalty on a coach of Averett. It's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on a coach of Averett. Interesting. That's what I think I heard. Let's check the stats here. So 1st and 10.
Nice catch.
Freshman quarterback in for LaGrange this time. Brevin Linnell.
Burrows made a nice catch again.
Lavelle throwing pretty good there. Looking like his receiver was ready for that pass.
Yeah, how about Linnell? A week ago, he was probably the 4th-string quarterback. Comes in here as the 3rd-string quarterback, gets in the game. 5'10", 200-pound freshman. Georgia. Linnell back to pass, flushed out of the pocket, and he'll throw this one toward the sideline and out of bounds. Intended receiver was Brian Oliver, the senior, 5'7". That'll bring up 3rd down and 10. So out of the shotgun, Linnell flushed out to the right, fires on the run, and it's dropped. As Oliver couldn't hang on to it. Might have been a 1st down.
And that's the problem when you have like your 2nd and 3rd string players in, is they don't have the chemistry as your starters. And like that one just came off the chest of the wide receiver there. It came in probably too hot, probably practicing with a different quarterback, expected different speed passes, but nevertheless, the Cougars force a turnover, force a 4 and out, And we're going to see a different quarterback in for the Cougars this time, as sophomore quarterback Ryan Curl will make his way onto the field after this punt. Flag on the play.
You know, both teams running a lot of players in and out, so a lot of people getting experience today.
Yeah, and there's This is the perfect opportunity to do just that. Play everybody on the roster.
Right.
Let's see if Webster returns this or not.
Quick score alert, too. Georgia, South Carolina tied at 17 in Athens.
Overtime.
As they head into OT. Of course, Georgia number 3. South Carolina giving them a scare.
Absolutely. So let's see what Ryan Curl in this offense can get done. Looks like senior running back David Dean in the game for the Cougars. Ryan Curl, another. David Dean! How about that coming up with the first down?
Nice run up the middle there. Big hole was opened up, too. So a couple scores. Oklahoma 34-20 on Texas right now, late fourth. Michigan up 42-25 over Illinois. Clemson, Florida State just getting started. Cincinnati, Houston just getting started. Both those games scoreless. Temple, a final 30-28 over number 23 Memphis.
Don't you just love Saturdays?
Oh, yeah. Saturdays in the fall.
Absolutely. Curl, another guy that this coaching staff is looking at it being a possible future, quarterback. They call him a franchise quarterback for the team. .20 seconds on the play clock. Still trying to get a play call in.
You got Florida or LSU tonight?
I'm going to have to go Joe Burrow and LSU.
Yeah, he's looked good.
He's red hot right now. Florida's been playing good football as well, though, so it'll be a good game. David Dean breaking them loose here. That's a 8-yard pickup right there.
Yeah, nice carry over the left side. Big hole.
It's 3rd and 2. They'll probably go back to David Dean if patterns mean anything.
Yeah, it's good to see Dean, the senior, get some carries here late, too.
Dean picks up the first down.
Shuffling some more offensive linemen in.
Seems like every offensive lineman they got is going to play. So now in at running back is going to be number 20 freshman Malcolm Hines. Ryan Curl stays in at the quarterback position as we move under a minute to go now. Hines doing a good job.
Nice strong run there. South Carolina up 20-17 in double overtime over Georgia.
Wow.
How about
what
that?
An upset that would be.
Georgia currently ranked number 3. But here today, what a performance in all facets.
Curl keeps it. Curl's got some space to run, a nice stiff arm, and he's going to get out of bounds. Brian Curl picking up a first down. And that's going to be the game. Your Cougars win 55-7. They are undefeated in the USA South. They move on to 4-1 on the year. And like you said, what an impressive game.
Oh, yeah. And they move to 4-1 overall, and that sets up the showdown versus NC Wesleyan under the lights next week. And they go in 2-0 in the conference. And keep the train rolling, as they say, right?
Train rolling. And for everybody in the sports information department, that was Zach Humphreys. I'm Eddie Glenn. See you at 6 p.m. Same channel, same location, right here on the Averett Sports Network.